All right, we're continuing the series addressing various rumors, working through the list here. And you can see at the top, I know I have it on mirror mode, but I actually called the specific inquiries to address right from the beginning. And I was working the transfer station this Saturday, and I was writing down some various other ones that I've heard, things to address. And some of them are so small, it seems weird to address them. But today I'm going to cover two to do with the treasurer's office, and I guess neither one is small. One is a complete lie, and the other one there's some truth to it, which is nice and refreshing on some of these things to encounter some truth in them. So first one, and this is the most important one, Jeff is taking over treasury, and I completely get where this could come from. Right, because we've had serious concerns in the treasurer's office, and there have been multiple switches because we had Gerald in office, and then we had Kelly in office, and now we have Christy in office, and those are big things. We switched to clerk as well, and those are big things, and I've brought up each time that this is a serious thing, a little bit of a debacle, because for payments to go out to vendors and that type of thing, but paychecks as well, all of the payments that go out really should go through both of those offices. That's how it's designed. That's how it's designed by state law, is to have both of those offices certifying those things and signing them over. And so, like when we switch someone over, and I think I probably came up with different numbers of options on these. We could look back at the packets. They're available for everyone to look at and see what I wrote, and the recordings of the meetings, which hopefully we'll get the audio better in the near future. But nevertheless, you can hear them, you can determine it. And I didn't like any of the options. Quickly appointing someone to a new office, I really don't like. I don't like that reactive appointment like that, which is what we've done each time. But I have looked at the other options. I want to know what my options are. And so one other bad option that's seriously considered is having the deputy step in. Now, that is not exactly what a deputy is for. If the treasurer were to get sick, or the clerk, right, their deputy would step in at that point and still be able to perform the functions of that office. Some places run it like that. Instead of having the deputy always in the office like we do here, where the admin assistants are also deputies, some of them have it where the deputy is at home. The deputy doesn't work in the township. And just if that person gets sick, they're supposed to be able to step in. Now, how could they step in if they're not doing it on a consistent basis is a big question. And it adds functionality here by having the deputies in the office for those roles, because I try to encourage and we try to organize it so either the treasurer or the deputy treasurer is here, and either the clerk or the deputy clerk are here. Now, that doesn't always fully work because of schedules, and especially if there's a certain training that both of them want to go to, then I still want that to happen as well. But that's the idea, so there's availability there. But there is, the lawyer was able to come up with, because I said, I want to know what my possible options are here. We don't want to wait. One of the options is to wait, and people proposed this. I believe some people supported it in the meeting from the audience, from citizens, and say, well, if you wait, then, and I think it's 45 days after the resignation, then the county clerk has to call a special election to elect someone to that office. But if you're not paying bills, if you're not paying employees for 45 days, and then however long a special election takes after that, you're not going to have anything left. Right? You're not gonna have employees, and maybe the lights won't be on. There'll be some stuff pretty broken by that point. So that is one option, but it's a pretty bad option. Another option was to have the deputy step in. Now that was going by, and I believe I included this in the packets, but going by memory, I believe this was a 1970 state attorney general's opinion that you could count a resignation as a death. And now in the case of a death, the deputy can step in. The idea of them not stepping in when there's a resignation, as far as I can tell, is that the power of appointing a deputy is fully within the power of the official, right? So the treasurer chooses the deputy treasurer, and just choose. They have to be eligible for that position, but otherwise they pick. There is no certification by the board, right? There isn't even a nomination and confirmation process. They pick. That's how the law is. And so if that person is resigning over something, maybe something went bad, and maybe their deputy shouldn't have those duties as well. And so I get that perspective, right? I definitely get that perspective. But it would be nice to continue to carry on those functions. Now, what I had also looked at is you can assign other duties. The board can vote and assign other duties to the board members, to the elected officials. And so we were taking that, and our lawyers were actually comfortable with this. They thought that this would legally hold, that for a temporary period of time to assign me oversight duties for the Treasury. And now this came into play, a couple of times, because it came into play twice in turnovers in the Treasury Department, once in the clerks, because we had the discussion each of those times, and then especially with that type of turnover, because we had the election in 2020, so there's one turnover, and a handful of months later, somewhere around that's very general, Gerald leaving, Kelly coming in, a few months later, Kelly leaving, Christy coming in. That's a lot of turnover, and we're having the final dots on the I's and crosses on the T's done for the audit now, and hopefully it comes out decently well, but I would expect some problems. And we know there was one major problem that Christy noticed when she had come into office, that things weren't properly dispersed. Now, when Kelly was leaving, she thought she had everything set. I just double-checked, shot an email to the county and said, hey, do we have all of our stuff in order that we need with you? County confirmed, yes, we're good to go. I did not realize that I probably should have followed up with every other organization, the Muskegon Area Intermediate School District, the local schools, those types of things, because those are the things that the money wasn't dispersed to, right? So, that's a serious issue, but it's not my role, right? That's a separate elected official. Now, I would view everything in the township as my responsibility at this point, and I want to have more of a discussion over that. I'm going to, on a potential restructuring of that, and try to eliminate the confusion over the structure of the organization, which I've had multiple talks about for a long time now, and just eliminate some of that and these tiny little power struggles, right? But nevertheless, I thought, maybe it would be a good idea to have the board vote, to have me do an oversight position over Treasury, and then when we had these turnovers, then I could just sign things, all payments could go through, while we took a longer interview process to put someone into that position. Now, obviously, we decided not to do that. We did a shotgun appointment instead. And so I came up with a various list of options. I think it was 5 options, maybe a few more. And I explicitly stated that in I think multiple videos, maybe multiple meetings, that I don't like any of them. I still don't like any of them. But you do have to pick one, because those are all the options I can come up with. If someone else can come up with a better option, you feel free to let me know. Even looking in hindsight now, I can't come up with a better option. So if someone can, I would still like to know. Alexander Solzhenitsyn was big on looking back on his life and trying to figure out, where things had gone wrong, so you can learn and process that and absorb it, and then hopefully do better in the future. And so it's one of those things where it's like Jeff was taking over Treasury. Yeah, we openly discussed it in multiple meetings, ended up not going that way, and I think things are going well now. More things are being put into the systems, the BSNA systems, and being run like that. The disbursements, I thought there might be some penalty fees and things like that. And because when it was noticed, we were getting fairly close to the audit, and I would have reached out to the auditor anyways. We reached out to Eric, got his advice on it. He said, let me kind of guide you through this and make sure that everything is checked in the way it's supposed to be. And the organizations ended up not having penalty fees on it. So that worked out well, because I fully expected that. So that, it's going good as far as, problems have been there, and problems have been noticed, and problems have been worked on, which there's an unlimited amount of those and an unlimited amount of that. But as far as I can tell, it's on a very good trajectory now. So I think somewhere in all of that, maybe multiple times, maybe just because it's come up multiple times, that is where the Jeff has taken over Treasury has come from. So, I mean, not taking over Treasury, but the discussion was very serious, and it was a potentiality for it to go that way. So I guess rumor confirmed, that was an option. We'll stamp that one as approved, which I kind of like. I mean, some of these, some things are true, and there's usually some legitimate concern to it, especially the minor ones. Often they're peer lies, they're peer fabrication, and so there is no concern. But that one's legitimate, and that would be big, right? That would be important. And I mean, a huge reason that I don't want to do that is because I think the checks and balances in the finances in the township between the clerk and treasurer's office having to share that information like that is pretty good. The state statute, the state law has that set up pretty well. And so I think that should just be run how it's supposed to be run. All right. Now, the other thing, because they both involve the Treasury Department, the Treasurer's Office, that I might as well just cover all in one go. And now this one is a complete fabrication, so completely different than that one, which is a legitimate concern that was legitimately talked about and was a legitimate option. Did I kick other township treasurers out of the building? Now, I think this comes about because Kelly did well at reaching out to other treasurers, which I encouraged. And asking for help, and from the county as well. And I tried to make sure that when each of those people was in the office to just swing by. I didn't want to interrupt their stuff. They're working on things, right? That's why they're here. And I know they have busy schedules and things to get back to already. And so I don't want to take a bunch of time, but I attempted when they were here. I noticed they were here. I got some free time. Maybe they had a little bit of a lull to just step over and say, hey, thanks for coming in, appreciate it. And that's basically it. I mean, it was stuff happening between them. They were organizing and sharing the information. And so it didn't involve me in a major way. But I wanted to make sure that the other treasurers and the other people that were willing to take the time to come over and help with those sorts of things that we appreciated. And so somehow that got morphed because I heard from someone that was at a conference where there was someone else that was talking about me, which all the stuff is like that. I mean, it's like a soap opera / high school, maybe middle school type of thing. It's weird. It's its own weird little world. But did I kick other township treasurers out of the building? No, that would be the exact reverse of true. I attempted to thank them whenever they were taking the time to be in. And some of that stuff, I don't know, like, it seems like someone would have to intentionally warp that. Like, how could it get warped directly into the thing that it's the opposite of, right? Directly the opposite of the truth. But I think we've all played that game phone, probably at some point in our life, some point in school, where someone tells a story to one person, then another person, another person, another person, another person. By the time it gets back around to the first person, it's completely different. And I remember doing it when I was young, and I knew I couldn't remember everything by the end of the story. Like a few minutes in, I was like, all right, I have it. And then a few minutes later, I was like, I can't remember what the beginning is. So then you're trying to tell the next person, and you're messing up the story, and everyone in the line is doing that. And so I get how that stuff gets really warped on its own too, not even without bad intentions. Other stuff, it seems like it probably is bad intentions. But either way, so those are those two issues. Is Jeff taking over Treasury? No, but it was legitimately discussed, so I definitely see where that one came from. Did I kick other township treasurers out of the building? No. In fact, I attempted to make a decent amount of effort to thank them. So the exact reverse of that one. Anyone has anything else, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it may be, my direct line at the office is 231-332-6700 or email supervisor@daltontownship.org. Otherwise, this is Jeff Martin signing off until next time, which I'm going to shoot a positive video right after this.